Hey, Commanders Nation, it's your boy Hog Farmer Keith from the Hog Farmers Charitable Foundation. Before you start listening to Owning the Huddle podcast presented by Red Zone in the Lab, check out our Amazon Smile, a simple and easy way to support the Hog Farmers Charitable Foundation every time you shop, and it costs absolutely nothing to you.
Welcome to DC. Welcome to DC. Welcome to DC. You know we're out at the USA Cup. You're taking it slightly. I'm taking it slightly. Now how you thought I go, you won't be right back. Well, we gon' be right here. We gon' be right here. We ain't going nowhere. Welcome to DC.
Welcome to Owning the Huddle podcast with DT CeeLo and with Breeze. We're out of the playoffs. We are out of the playoffs. We haven't won since, what was that? November 27th, I think, was the last time we won a game. And we've been outscored like 110 to like 50 something, right? Is that what that looks like?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get the show started.
Welcome to Owning the Huddle podcast presented by Red Zone in the Lab, where we discuss all things Washington Commanders, from the executive and front offices, coaches, players, and fan experience. Join DT, Breeze, CeeLo, and Deuce as they break down the pre- and post games. Do it because you love it and not because it loves you. Hail Commanders!
Opening thoughts. DT, let's start with you.
Demoralizing defeat. Just a complete failure throughout these games. You lose to the Browns, a team that really has nothing to play for. They're just trying to get their offense right for next year. And you lose, and there's no energy in the stadium. I don't see no confidence in the team. Outside of the defense holding on 3 points, offense was just horrible. Carson Wentz was horrible. There was nothing that I was just glad we got kicked out of the playoffs, bro. Like, for a team to sit up there and watch that at 1:00, that was embarrassing, man. I mean, like, this is our team we're talking about, right? This team that I grew up watching, this team CeeLo grew up watching, Breeze grew up, you grew up watching. And to sit up there and they folded like that the past couple of weeks, not win a game, it's embarrassing. I hate for the fan base to have to go through something like that.
They didn't have no energy, CeeLo. I mean, right at the beginning of the game. And it all started with not bringing Chase Young out last, right? They bring him out next to last, right before John Allen. They bring Payne out first. I know that's your captain, but we've been waiting for this man at home all season. And they didn't do that. What's your recap? Because you didn't really watch the game when it was happening. So you had like a heads up of what was coming. But what's your initial reaction?
My initial reaction is same old. I wasn't disappointed because I expected this. So for me, it was an easier letdown, I guess, than some people. I know Ducey said a lot. You got your expectations were high during that Giants game in Sunday Night Football. I'm with you. I was like, man, that's it for us to be in that position. Was after everything we've been through this season. To me, that was my route, my pivot point. So when the Browns game was happening, the way it was happening, and things needed to happen for us to make it to the playoffs or whatever, I was like, man, we ain't making no playoffs. and then what's his name? When we'll talk about it later, but when we had a couple of injuries and guys on Saturday get downgraded, I'm like, yeah, here we go. Here we go. So my initial reaction was just status quo. We've done this several times. If you guys remember, we faulted last year. I know some blame COVID, so I can understand that. But we fell, down, last year. We fell. Remember, we fell down. I want to say it was 2018 against the Giants when they had nothing to play for, and they rolled us. Same exact scenario. They had nothing to play for. They made the playoffs. I want to say OBJ was playing, went off. I mean, it was crazy. Kirk threw a couple of picks. So I was like, same old, same old. That's how I felt.
It's a sad day. I haven't felt that way at that Giants game in decades, man. Like, we had all the energy. We was pumped, had a bye week, getting back healthy. There's a chance Chase might play. Like, all that was going on. And we came out that joint, laid an egg, man. CeeLo, Carson Wentz and Scott, what's his last name? Turner. Scott Turner. They folded. But where was the surprise in the fold? Or was there any surprise?
I think I was most surprised by the lack of progress with Carson Wentz. He looked to me, naked, untrained eye. He looked to me the exact same Carson Wentz that played the first 6 games. So I expected, shame on me, but I expected he's been sitting, he's been watching film, he's been, studying playbook, he's been mimicking, dropbacks with Taylor and whoever else. I just expect a little bit more urgency and a little bit more precision from Carson. Maybe that was a bad assumption because, it's hard to mimic that, without playing football. So maybe that was a bad assumption, but I just really felt this is a better situation. Remember, we have a different offense, right? We more, run heavy. We ran 37 times on Sunday, 37 times with 28 throws. I'm like, perfect. That's perfect. Like that's perfect. And the defense do its thing, blah, 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 blah. So I'm so surprised that with the reduced throwing, we did not make him win us the game, and he still looked like that. Like, I don't know what else you can do. We're literally trying to minimize the quarterback play on this team so that we can actually win football games, which is crazy to think about given the talent and the resources we put into the offense, to be honest. And we've had to eliminate the quarterback so that we don't, put ourselves in a bad position, which is crazy. So all of that to me played into Carson Wentz's favor, and he came out looking like that. That to me is how I look at the Scott. I don't even want to talk about Scott. It's to me, this is all on. I mean, I don't know what else Scott could have done. Like, I mean, okay, we could talk about the 4th and 1 and all that stuff, but it's Carson Wentz, bro. You are a professional. You can't be grounding balls
That was
out there
terrible,
on the 5-yard out. Like, I don't. What can Scott do,
bro? That was right down on my sideline. Yeah, when he threw that jump, I was like, "This is not happening."
Bro, I don't know. I don't know. What can Scott do? Like, to me, this is more about this one game. I'm not talking about the whole season. Just this one game, to me, was on Carson Wentz. I don't know what else you can do if the guy can't complete a 3-yard out. Like, I really don't know.
PT, you heard CeeLo's points. Like, we all have our take on Scott, right? I've said that Scott, I believe, is an innovative coach, right? I've always said that, and I still believe that. We see the plays, we see the innovative plays, we see it, but he's a bad coordinator, right? He can't scheme anything. He can't build off of anything. Situational, he's terrible. So all in all, he's a bad offensive coordinator. But the times that he does put, or he did put Carson Wentz in position to succeed, do you think he put him in any of those type of positions this last game? And if he did, did Carson take advantage of it? Was he only had what, 3 completed passes? I mean, I don't know.
Deuce, I'm gonna be completely honest with you, man.
Be honest, man. No more lies.
This is like this is like from the heart, and just looking at it, it's really so hard to assess the quarterback position and Scott Turner because both of them are inconsistent. Like, name one quarterback outside of Taylor that has been efficient. I mean, Alex Smith, but that's still the same style that we've been playing the past couple of weeks. Like, run the football, complementary football, let the defense get rest. But it's the same. I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I get it. Like, Carson, like, he's definitely not accurate, and I just feel like his flaws are too hindrance for our offense to do anything. Whether it's just be inaccurate, slow release, like they're just teeing off on him, knowing that he takes forever to get the ball off, or the way that we're running the football. It's okay. We run the football and stuff, like that's what we're supposed to do, right? But it's nothing exotic like the 49ers or like the Patriots or something like that. Or it's just when we're doing play action, we only did like play action like 3 times on Sunday, and we ran the ball that much. I mean, what's going on? Like, what is really Scott Turner's offense that in these 3 years? I mean, what is the grade? You can't say incomplete because you've seen it for 3 years. I mean, your best bet is to say probably C minus. I mean, it's some games
they calling that man. They calling that man Jeff Fisher, bro.
I don't think Scott's ever had an offense above ranked 25, 23 by the end of the season. That's what
I don't think so either, CeeLo.
So right in the mid-20s, which makes you bottom third, maybe bottom fourth. So you're literally a 25% offensive coordinator. That's your in my grade school, that's an E. When I went to school, I got 25%. That's an E. I mean, you're a teacher, right? Your kid gets 1 out of 5 or 1 out of 4 right. He's probably gonna get an E, D or E, depending on how you grade. So that's what he is. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like. It's sad, bro.
It's frustrating because, like CeeLo, right? He's very innovative. He's not a dinosaur, right? He's running a lot of spread concepts. I mean, we're in a shotgun line. He's a shotgun coordinator. That's something he preferred. Like he went to college at Michigan. He was a grad assistant. He likes the spread offense. He likes to be in shotgun and things like that. That's what he prefers. But it's when you're taking out your best running back who's getting 4 to 5 yards a pop, and on 4th down, you put the 4th string guy, you're already down running backs. You put Jonathan Williams and you go outside instead of inside. That's where we question Scott Turner. He doesn't have a flow in majority of his games. And I said this earlier in the week. He's like a quarterback. Once he's in rhythm, everything goes well. But when he's not in rhythm, that's when you start seeing things just look crazy and janky.
Something I've noticed the last few weeks is that our defense kind of looks like it looked in the beginning of the year. So I kind of look back and I looked at when our defense improved, right? It was when Curl came back. But through that whole woke Del Rio stage of our lives, we gave JDI a whole lot of credit. But I look back and I say, I wonder if it was Curl and not so much JDR. How do you feel about that, CeeLo?
Apparently, Curl is the best safety this franchise and any franchise I've ever seen in 35 years. I mean, clearly he is the glue. He is the pulse. He is the brains. He's very smart, which I know he is. I know he is. He's been, he's been credited to be one of the smartest football players that Jack's ever been around, which is a really, really high praise.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
So, but you got to be joking me, right? I mean, like, I think, we've really been hard on Jack over these last 3 years because you can look at the ebbs and flows, right? You look at year one, and what transpired there. Look at year two, everything that happened with our, with waiting so long to put people in the right positions to succeed. Yeah. Year three, they waited 4 or 5 weeks to get until they put Defoe out there full time and then waiting to move McCain down. So he's been very methodical and very patient. I'm gonna call it patient. I'm not gonna say he's been slow. I'm gonna call it patient to make a move. But then, like you just said, you look at the results, man. You like the only pieces that were missing was Curl if he was injured, and then we've had some puts and takes at that cornerback position. I'm gonna give him a little bit more credit than that, Deuce. I think Jack is a better coordinator than just missing Curl, but I'm just disappointed that you knew a guy based on the first 4 weeks or whatever. What is it? 2 to 3 weeks or 4 weeks he missed in the beginning of the season to these last couple of weeks. You haven't figured out a way to make this defense at least sustain itself while he's out. You punt it, and I'm gonna go back to one. I'll land on this point. They punt on the linebacker position. So when you did have an injury, which you do because it's football, you chose not to fill that role. You felt like you can go with a nickel, a viper, and play a lot of dime and nickel and dime packages with that smaller front. So when you have an injury like Holcomb and like Curl, or like Cam Curl, you're down to who? Bostic and Mayo, and then you down to some practice squad guys and guys that play special teams, and you haven't been coaching these guys up. So you're now stuck in a really tough position. So it's a lack of. It's like that next level. That's why I know we're ranking at a top 10 defense, but I some people made this point before, and I agree. We're not dominant. Like dominant defenses, they figure it out. You have depth. You bring guys up, you teach them, they can play the role they're supposed to play, and just kind of gradually, it's about the process. And I just feel like we're one player away from it just falling apart. Like how are we in this position year 3? Like year 3, we've had time to build up the bench, continue to draft, continue to add in free agency, and you're telling me we're still getting Bostic back here from Tampa and Mayo. Like, how are we in this position still? So it's really not just Jack, it's personnel, it's teaching, coaching, it's Jack, it's the whole process. And that's where I am with the Deuce. I'm gonna give Jack more credit, but I'm still disappointed in how the lack of preparation and the way it showed out these last few weeks.
So DT, when we talk about Jack Del Rio, does he even have a bag? Like, we look back, is there any game that we can say, man, JDI was in his bag today?
You might have to go back to 2020, perhaps.
Oh maybe. I was talking about this year.
I mean, you asked the question. I'm being real. I truly think that.
My God,
man, I'm just gonna be honest with you, man. Like, Del Rio really don't do nothing special on defense. It's like they out there to play it in the defensive line. You're telling the defensive line, rush 4, we're going to cover 7. And you may occasionally bring Jamin Davis or a slot corner for a blitz or Benjamin St. Juste. But this is my opinion, right? And CeeLo made a great point. When it comes to personnel moves and stuff like that, especially in the pro department, and you have no depth afterwards, we said in the offseason for approximately 6 to 7 months that when you look at our linebacker and corner room, there was nothing really impressive after the first three, right? I mean, we had William Jackson III, and then apparently he wasn't a fit for our defense, and you trade him away. So now you're having St. Jude, who is getting all his reps in the slot, and now he's playing outside, and you're seeing, okay, this brother can play outside. And then you got Kendall Fuller. He's starting to regain some type of form before this game Sunday. We're going to get to him later. And Danny Johnson, he's approximately our best fourth corner on the team when he gets an opportunity. Past couple of games, he's making big plays on third down. But where's the depth after that? I mean, when Ron was in Carolina, he had a tendency to sign vets that with arguably high names that fit his defense. We had Corn Elder in the offseason, and you don't bring him up when St. Juice is down. I ain't trying to say he's St. Juice, but he's somebody that we know that knows the defense. And you're putting pressure on a Christian Home, or there's nobody after that. When Cole Holcomb goes down, you're putting all the responsibility on Jamin Davis. Now, he's a first-round pick. We expect him to learn the mic, which he has shown some improvement. But you're still signing Mayo, and you're still signing John Bostic after you keep saying we're trying to go better at the linebacker position, and you're lying in front of my face because these guys still getting a check on the team. And then when it comes to this safety position, you have your founder Jim and Derek Forrest and Cam Curl, both late round picks, and they have developed well. But it seems to me that when Cam Curl is out, he is literally the voice of the defense. He's the one that gets everybody in line. He has the highest IQ. He understands. He is the eraser of the back end. When there's a lot of misdirection, he knows where he's supposed to be at, and he gets Forrest in. And you see that now, Forrest really doesn't look good without Cam Curl.
That's right.
I mean, like,
Yep.
what are we doing in the pro personnel department that's not helping this team?
Right.
And this defensive line, we're not always going to get pressure because we don't have a Nick Bosa. I mean, we got Chase Young and Montez Sweat, but they're nowhere near his level. We can say Jonathan Allen and Payne is a good debate and argument. Past 2 years, they can be on Aaron Donald's level for the impact they had this year, but we're too conservative and passive on defense when we need to attack offenses. The 49ers attack offenses. They don't be conservative and things like that unless, okay, they're up a couple of scores and something like that. But we need to attack. We almost need like a Jim Haslett type of style to it. Now, Jim Haslett, he wasn't the most, greatest defensive coordinator, but he attacked defenses. And I just don't see that with Vote Del Rio.
Yeah, man. Deron mentioned the Texans game in his bag, but I just remember Deron Payne just dominating that game. Like they just dominated that game.
That's
man.
the Texans, though. What about the
Yes.
Cowboys? What about the Giants? What about those things that matter?
Right. So just a real quick, we can just, so Deshaun had he 9 for 18, 169 yards, 3 touchdowns. Wow. Like that's wow.
That's crazy.
Five sacks.
And one of
That's
them was
pretty
like for like 50, 60 yards.
good, bro. That won to Cooper.
Yeah.
And then the rushing, Nick Chubb was rolling.
Yeah.
Like Nick Chubb was looking nice. I'm like, is this week 17 or is this like week 2?
They was doubling the D tackles, all the D tackles, and the linebackers was nowhere to be found.
Nowhere to be found. 14 carries for 104 yards. Just incredible. So anyway,
Yep,
just wanna throw
we
that out
got
there.
some guests in the building today. We have Deron, we have the real Telly is in the building. They're gonna come chat with us to talk to us about if Rivera and Carson Wentz is done, and not with this team. I'm talking about their careers in the NFL, and we also going to talk about what happens now with this team. But first,
Hi, I'm Christian Miles, native Washingtonian and real estate agent servicing the Washington metropolitan area. I started my career as an investor and later transitioned to the residential side. I really wanted to leave the investor side because I wanted to connect with people. Building relationships is important to me. I understand the buying and selling process can be challenging. I get it. I've been there. I'm a mom, wife, friend, and neighbor. I absolutely love helping families and connecting with people. Going through the home buying and selling process is stressful enough. When working with me, I make it fun. As a realtor, I think it's important to be able to connect with you. Every detail is important, no matter how small. Let me take care of the heavy lifting while you focus on the joys of finding a new home. Something I live by, people may not remember what you said, but they will always remember how you made them feel. With me, it's an experience.
most times as fans, we always kind of go a little too far when we're talking about different players, and when we saying they trash and they different things like that. And because we're looking at it as a fan in our fandom. But there's also times like today where we realize players go out there and they put their lives on the line to play the sport. And you can't really say that that's not true. Like people will say, well, that's not the Army, or they not taking bullets and stuff like that. But from reports right now, Bills Damar Hamlin actually stopped breathing on the field. And there's reports that he had 9 minutes of CPR on the field. So I think that's something that we need to kind of understand and relate when we're, getting too personal with players and being in their DMs and tagging them and tagging their family members and all those type of things, because they are humans and they have their own personal lives. So from all of us, from owning the Huddle podcast and Red Zone in the Lab podcast and Red Zone DC, our prayers go up to Damar Hamlin. Prayerfully he's okay. Prayerfully he's able to bounce back. I'm not sure if they're going to cancel the game or not, but they need to cancel this game. In NFL, the Shield needs to make a stand that is not just about making money. It's about the actual humans that play this game. So again, we're going to end here. We did have a couple more segments. I want to thank Deron and Telly for coming on, for joining today. Sorry to cut it short. We will have you all back on to give you the time that we promised you all, but we just cannot continue to go on with this news that we're getting, and it's really a distraction to all of us. So again, do it because you love it, not because it loves you.